Start with a prayer and he's going to lead us.
All right, guys, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we just gathered today on our first summer meeting. Father God, we thank you for everything that you have done for us. Lord, I ask you just guide us today, Father God, any decision that is made. Lord God, we just bless, I ask you just bless the students in this community, Father God, in the school. Lord Jesus, we thank you and we adore you. In Jesus Christ's name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, we will kick off with recognitions.
The only sort of kind of recognition that we have is, I think we have won Star Cup. Did I do that?
No, I'm just going to see if he was. I'm just checking some things.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So, and I reported to the board, but I'll report to our stakeholders here as well. The final tabulation of the UIL was on Friday, and that included softball, baseball totals. But the UIL now has a 2-week verification challenge window for people that think the calculations were wrong or something. So the official announcement will be July the 1st. We think we got it. I am told that the UIL, once those are final, the UIL will make arrangements with us to come out and send one of their executive leadership people and present us with a trophy sometime in the fall. My inside information suggests we might know which one that is, but you probably know Dr. Stevens, but it sounds like maybe he's going to be the guy. And so if and when he does contact us, I'll see if we can't make that happen on our homecoming when we have scheduled on, I believe, September the 19th, I think is the date. Seems like, is that right?
That's right.
Okay. So, yay. And I don't know how we would bring everybody in the room that's responsible for that. Maybe we should begin planning a big party. I don't know.
We'll have plenty of homecoming.
Yeah. There's
Parade and all.
we're going to celebrate somehow. I promise you.
Maybe the staff will build a Lone Star float.
The Lone Star float. But that's all the recognitions I know of.
Okay, thank you, sir. And we will move to Mr. Humphrey's report.
We've been working on staffing, obviously an important thing. Mr. Coulter, myself, he headed it, and we took in resumes and were able to bring in, we had 9 people, I believe, apply. We brought in 2 people that met the criteria, met the background checks, and met what we were looking for. Both of them interviewed very well, both of them very solid, both of them checks were very solid. I mean, you have 9 people apply for, it ended up being 2 jobs because of the dyslexia job. And so as for tonight, I'd like to recommend Amanda Branham for 1st grade, and for 2nd grade, Crystal Clayball. And then with that, Miss McLean would move to dyslexia. But we did involve, as y'all read in your minutes, we involved 7 staff members were a part of that committee. And Mr. Coulter had a rubric and they were graded. And I mean, but a very thorough process, and very pleased with the quality of candidates that we had and who we brought in and how well they, and they both have a heart for kids and in it for the right reasons, And so felt fortunate to have them in, and feel like that would be the best way for us to move going forward if you guys prove so. But that's kind of where we are, and that would leave us fully staffed on the teaching side. I guess we do have a daycare job open.
Yeah, it's still open.
It's still open.
A maintenance position.
And a maintenance position, but as far as the teaching side of things, we would be fully staffed. We also got in STAR results. A lot of it's preliminary. We did send individual results off. We don't have the comparisons to the state. We don't have all the comparisons to state. ELCs we did. We don't have the comparisons to state and region and those things. When we get all those in, I will bring a report for you either in July or August, probably August. We'll get all that in, and just like we did last year, go over all of it and let you see all of it. But most of you should have got your kids mail to you, but did very well, did very good again. Most domains look like we were an A. I mean, we have a few, you always do, we have some areas we can improve in, but all in all, did very well, performed very well. Now, just since Cody's here, we'll let Cody take it over. Ms. Harrison and I have been working on scheduling for next year, bell schedules, academic schedule. We're gonna go back to an academic schedule of going 1 through 5, then going to 6, high school athletics 6th period. The schedule very similar to the schedule 2 years ago is what we'll be utilizing next year as of right now. And as far as having the schedule set, it's fairly set, but you don't release schedules until July, because if you tell someone you're teaching English 1st period and it changes to English 3rd period, it really upsets them. So you don't. It's been worked on, but we got to make sure we're fully staffed. Everyone's staying here, and then we'll release it at the appropriate time. But we also went to a district meeting, an organization meeting at Ashramont last Tuesday. We ended up swapping on some things as far as what we host this year. We're still going to be hosting junior high tennis, high school tennis, and high school golf. A lot of the agreements we had made last year, for instance, and we are also, I left that off, we are also hosting the junior high academic meet. But last year we made agreements to get it, but they wanted the 2nd year, and we did still host the high school. We didn't get that opportunity because Ashramont wanted to host it, but we are hosting. Rotan did opt to allow us to host the junior high, so we'll host the junior high academic, and I left that off there. But those are the things that we'll be hosting next year as far as the spring goes. We got all that lined out. Again, the Lone Star Cup stuff, official in July, like you said, nothing new there, but that will be an exciting deal. So you think homecoming on that?
Well, we'll have a big celebration sometime. To me, it makes the most sense to try to do it whenever UIL's coming out and then making the presentation.
And we did
I'll see if they will coordinate with us.
We did the big deal at meet the Jaybirds, Lady Jays last year with the ring, which we'll have that again this year for the rings, I'm assuming, for basketball, correct?
Yes.
I just had thought maybe then too.
But, Lone Star Cup, we can celebrate that thing several times.
Yeah. So that I just thought we did that last year. This week, the All-Star games are in Wichita Falls. Aiden will be playing football Friday at 7:30. That's at Memorial Stadium. Brody will play basketball Saturday at noon. I've not been there to that one. D.L. Ligdon Gym, is that that's the new basketball arena. And then Griff will be playing Saturday at 2. And so busy
Wait a minute,
week.
Where's the basketball game? Last year, was it Midwestern?
Midwestern State.
They've got a new gym.
Yeah, it's D.L. Ligdon, ILIOG.
What's a new facility?
It's a new facility.
Is it we were in it last year though, right? Possibly, was it, or is it?
I'm not sure. I know
Okay, I think.
when Trip went in 21, it wasn't the new one, it was the old one. But it's a new, when I drove by, it's a new facility from when I went to school.
I guess I'll go. I don't know.
And last but not least, I'll be leaving to go to Dallas tomorrow after I've been at workshop today, going to the TASB convention. Get to go to that. So Texas Association of Secondary Principals, get to hear some good speakers. I heard this guy speak last year there. And so it's really a good, neat deal. Get to collaborate with people, get to hear a lot of good things. It's coaching school for principals, and it's a really well worth the time to get to go and spend it there. And so I really look forward to that every year, just an opportunity to collaborate and work with others. And so that'll be tomorrow, or it starts Wednesday morning and then runs through Friday. So excited to go to that. Really all I have going on. Any questions?
Bus drivers, are we good? I had somebody ask me if we were good with bus drivers, or I know last year we had quite a few teachers.
Ms. Clayball actually has her bus drivers.
She has CDL.
She has her.
Somebody
CDL.
just asked if y'all need a bus driver. They were interested.
We have all of our route drivers returning.
Okay.
And all the people that were qualified to drive our big buses are. Ms. Huff, when she let one of our Suburbans get attacked by a wild tire, was in the business of going to bus driving school. to drive the smaller buses, to drive the small yellow buses. And as Jamie said, if the board approves the offer of job to Crystal Clayball, she has a CDL license and she's been driving the ropes van around. She drove them to South Padre last week, I think, or a week before. So she's capable of that. And then I have one application on my desk for someone that can also be a substitute bus driver.
Okay,
Sandra Hudgens resigned her maintenance position, but she asked if she could keep her driving position, and that I'm certainly willing to do that if she's willing and able.
okay, that's what I was
Yeah.
asking, they asked me. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anything?
And, you know, if I were really evil, I would ask Jamie what he learned at TASSP last year when he was in a session.
Great,
Was you napping during that?
It wasn't your, it was, we had to talk and share. It was good. It was good. Little did I know then I'd be working with him a year later.
Yeah, you know, it's not funny
That's funny.
or cruel, one or the other.
Sometimes both.
Sometimes, but yes, indeed. If it's okay with y'all, on just pigtail, because he was talking about those teachers that we're going to be recommending in the formal action and later. I had reported to you all the process that we were going to use in that process. And so each of you have this little packet here. It was a 20-minute timed ride, and I've been using this model for a number of years, both with teachers and with assistant principals and principals, and even when I've helped districts look for superintendents, a version of this. It's a little more extensive with superintendent searches. But on the front page, you can see the actual writing prompt we gave them. They had 40 minutes to write in response to that. And in the next 2 pages, you'll actually see what those people wrote. So, and you can take a look at that and see their responses. And then the page after that, after they did the 40-minute timed writing, then I walked in and I took that from them and I handed them the battery of questions for the interview. And it's a self-directed interview. So it's not the people in the room asking the questions. The interviewee processes this information, packages it, repackages it, however they want to present it. I just tell them, you got 40 minutes to address all of this stuff somehow. Because if you don't address it all somehow, we're going to ask you about what you didn't address. And then it's interesting to see how people handle that. Some just march down and then some repackage and reorder things. And then the last page is the rubric. And as Jamie said, there was, including me, there were 10 in the room, I guess. But I didn't do one of these. But every one of the people on the interview team had this in their hands. And I told them at the beginning, we're not voting on teachers. This is not what we're doing. Jamie and I have to recommend someone to the board. And if they don't work out, we're the ones that have to hire them. So what the people on the interview team represent is they're looking at this person through different lenses. They're listening for different things. They're looking for different things. And at the end of the interview, I instructed all of them, score it as best you can right now before any conversation is had. Because always there's people on those interview teams like my wife who don't go, we're recording, dadgummit. She's really smart. Occasionally she has bad judgment, but she's a pretty smart lady. But she's one of those that'll sit there quietly in the room and never say a word. And so I like for people to score these things before there's ever conversation so that it doesn't become a campaign. I want to know what Andy thinks. I want to know what Cody thinks. I want to know what Kinsey thinks about those candidates. And then that's what we use, Jamie and I use, to synthesize to determine whether or not we felt like they were the candidates that we want to bring to you tonight. So I think you'll be pleased with what you saw, and You can take those home with you if you'd like to. I'd ask you not to share the rubrics around with people unless you're gonna use it for something in your job, something like that, but. Cause we may be having other candidates for other jobs, I don't want them having cheat sheets. So, so now that was kind of just a tag on to, Jamie's stuff. Let me get to my, report. As you all have seen before, and I've had a conversation with Cody Scott about this. Jamie mentioned that we got the end of course score results and we did fine. I sort of care. I mean, I want us to do fine, but it's like the opening height on the high jump, you know, we need to clear that height. But there's a lot of people on this planet that are thinking a lot about future workforce, and there's a lot of people on this planet that are thinking about the futures of our children and grandchildren. And Clifton Strengths is really the brainchild of the Gallup people, of work that they've done over the last 40 years. And they've developed this assessment model built on what do they think are the skills and the ways of thinking and the ways of behaving that people need to deploy in order to be happy, successful, and productive for a lifetime. And so, to me, as I'm thinking, as I'm working with you all, yeah, we need to know some algebra. Yeah, we need to be able to put a sentence together. Yes, we need to have some basic understanding of chemistry. That's the stuff right there in the workplace that helps you be successful or not. Because I'm pretty sure almost everybody at this table, and probably everybody in this room, took chemistry. And at some point, and he was a chemistry major, sort of, right? And almost every one of us at one point in time balanced chemistry equation. And there might be two of us in here right now that could do it if we were asked to do it now, because it's really not that much of value in the workplace. But those things are. And so as we work together, as time goes by, I'm going to keep bringing us back to the conversation about what it is our children need to know, be able to do, and the ways of thinking and the ways of behaving that will position them well in the marketplace as they begin to try to make a living for themselves and also take care of your grandbabies. You've already got one, I know, and one, is that right? Two. And I have a whole passel of them, but they're all coming. So that's a little kind of a sermon, sorry. Next thing on my list is I want to thank Andy and the team of folks as we spun up for graduation. There's a lot of stuff that goes on, you know, mowing grass, sprucing things up, positioning supplies and equipment, all that stuff to make graduation a good event for everybody. And I want to express thanks to Justin Gibson for running point on organizing the meal for our faculty and staff there at the end of school, where we gathered up and said goodbye to each other. We didn't have any fist fights that I was aware of. So, usually it gets a little tense in May, but, and then I would like to express my appreciation, for Christy Tidmore, Adrian Luke, and Brooklyn Coulter that, they turned their resignations in and they're leaving us, but, I'm appreciative of the way they served our children this year at the school. Thanks also to Josh, Kelsey, and John. They agreed the academic trip. Well, we've had a difficulty finding a place on the calendar to put it, but we got it there, and they're the ones that wrangled that thing. And I don't know if you got to see the picture of John being seasick, but I loved it personally. Because I did that for 7 hours and 45 minutes one year with Wilson, and I have not forgiven him yet. I did sing at his funeral, but I was thinking about being seasick. But thanks to Jamie for graduation stuff. There's a lot of that. Last week is a killer for principals. Graduation is generally the happiest day of the year for the principal. But graduation week is like hell week, and it's a lot of stuff. A lot of things coming at you and not much sleep. Kudos to the senior parents and members of the Jayton team that handled the after graduation party. I'm thankful for that. It's always nice, and it's such a blessing to have so many people that are willing to swing in and help. And as Samantha mentioned earlier, how fortunate we are to be where we are. I agree completely. I've seen what it looks like elsewhere. Brietta and Keith, holy mackerel. And the senior sponsorship, you know, you'd think, oh yeah, a week long vacation. Maybe not. They did it, and Keith tells me he's fixing to be a sponsor again. So gear up for that Gridiron Classic. Amber Long, and I've shared with the board by email, but I want to say this out publicly too. Amber Long and Christy Coulter have agreed to swing in there and pick up the dangling
Amber
Lorraine.
piece.
Amber
Oh, I'm sorry. What did I say?
You're off the hook.
Oh, sorry.
This conversation.
So cancel that money, I said.
Amber Lemoyne, not Amber Long.
Amber Lemoyne, yeah, my apologies. Amber Lemoyne and Christy Coulter for picking up the yearbook to finish that off. There's a lot of that completion of the yearbook that goes on this summer after graduation, and then you don't have the students, and it's a booger. And that's the reason I tell people I had to leave Jayton in 2002, because I moved my wife from being 8th grade math teacher to high school English and yearbook sponsor, and then 2 weeks later I had to leave. But so that's it for my report, sir. Unless you got questions for me about any of that.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Coulter. Do we want to, that Guardian, do we want to wait till the end on that?
If I would, in the interest of our stakeholders right here, I'd like to put the closed session stuff at the end, so we don't have to kick them out and bring them back later.
Okay. Then we will move to forward learning optimization for all. Action on the resignation of Matt Herzog from Board of Trustees with gratitude for service to the district.
Yeah, as I reported to you all, Matt contacted me, well, I guess it was last Sunday. And when if he could visit with me, and then we were able finally to get together Monday afternoon, and he indicated his intent to resign from the board, and I tried to talk him out of it. And I thought I had. And then Wednesday, he sent the email and said he felt like he needed to resign from the Board of Trustees. I shared that with you all. By our policy, he's supposed to sign it, and that's there just to make sure that someone doesn't surreptitiously hack your email and resign you from the board. So I contacted him and I said, you can come in and sign that, or you can let me sign it as proxy. I knew that it was legitimate. So that's what you see in the board packet is his resignation with my signature as proxy for official records. And I think it's good practice when anybody leaves the board, because you know how hard it is. But for the board to formally accept the resignation and express gratitude for their service. So that's what I'm recommending to you.
Okay, we'll need a motion to approve and accept the resignation of Matt Herzog from the JGISD School Board.
I'll make the motion.
Andy makes a motion.
I'll second it.
Cody Stanley seconds it. All in favor?
By the way, on any of this stuff, Cody, you all have the supporting documentation in the board book. But the reason I've got that up on the screen is if any of these documents that you want me to put up there for everybody to see, I'm happy to do that. Just let me know.
Yeah. Discussion item next, filling the seat.
Yeah, twice this week, I've had people I know and love to gently tell me that I misread something. One of them was Keith Empinger and Lacey Scoggin that told me that I had misread. What was that about?
The videoing?
Yeah, the video, and we'll get to that in a minute. And then, gosh almighty, this is so hard for me to admit, but Kevin Chisholm caught me and corrected me also on the issue of replacing a board vacancy. So in our board policy, BBC legal, it indicates that if a board member resigns their position, then you all have the option of appointing someone to fill that position. If you can find someone that's unaware of the challenges, and or you can call for a special election if that's what you want to do. Or if there's more than a year left in their term, you have 180 days to replace. If they're inside that last year, you can just sit on it and wait till the May election, if that's what you want to do. So that's where we are on that. And we can beat that around now if you want to, air your thoughts, feelings, how you want to proceed, or if you want to retire to your corners and think about it till July the 24th, we can do that. I'm open. I don't think it's good practice for the superintendent to get involved in board politics. So, I mean, I'm not gonna recommend anybody to you. I mean, whatever you all want to do, I'm happy to follow your lead on it.
I'm fine with appointing somebody, but I think it's something we need to discuss amongst the group because, and maybe with that person, I don't want to appoint somebody and I'm like, why'd you pick me?
Yeah,
You know,
right.
that doesn't.
What you got against me?
I want to give them an option to accept it if that's what they want to do.
Sure.
I'd like it to be very transparent, kind of like your hiring was. There have been quite a few people show interest in the board over the past years. Maybe they didn't win, but
Yep.
I kind of want to look through the whole process and go by each candidate. Maybe we'd sit down sometime and talk about that and go through them one by one and who we think would be good fits. And I'm for some. I mean, I'm for somebody that maybe have a different opinion to kind of persuade my decisions that I make when I'm on the board. Somebody that may question me and open my eyes to something else. So I'm not against anybody.
So how does that typically work? Do we discuss potentially some names and then kind of come to agreement on someone we would be happy with, and then that person is approached?
You've done it
Yeah,
before.
I was part of the process. I got appointed my first term when I think Paul Martinez stepped down, or the board president, I forgot his name, maybe Heath,
Howard.
called me, asked me to go to the coffee shop and for lunch. I didn't know what it was about. And so the board had already talked and they had mentioned a few candidates, I guess, and they asked me if I was interested and I was like, what about so-and-so? So I never ran before, but I said, yeah, I'll try. But I did get appointed, but I could finish that term, which was about 6 months.
Right.
And then I had to run again for that spot.
Yeah.
So if we appoint somebody now, they finish Matt's term, which is.
They would be up for re-election
In May. But if we have an election, a public election,
a special election.
like probably the earliest we could probably do that would be October, November-ish, I don't know.
Well, I'm not trying to run your business. My guess is it would probably be best done in conjunction with the November general election.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
But on that election, that would be a 3-year term, as a full term, if it's an election, is that right?
I think that's correct, yeah.
Yeah, I have to look at that again, I don't
I
remember,
think that's correct.
because there's a vacancy, but no, I would be, we just have to process, I need to process it a little bit
Sure.
and see kind of how, what we come up with somebody that,
Well, and now that we've got a second resignation as of this morning too, I mean, that's a very unusual, extremely unusual situation. Where you have 2 vacancies at the same time, so that's the factor into the calculus.
yeah, my opinion, I think if it was 1 vacancy, appointment would be suitable, but for 2. Right now, before thinking about it too much, I would think an election, a public election, right now is what I'm thinking, just so the community has a say. And then we're not just deciding that whole board, but anyway, an appointment would just be till May anyway, then the election takes place, but right now I'm leaning toward an election, but we have to be patient and do it right.
So do we need a motion?
No, we're just.
Just discussion.
Okay.
Which way we wanna go. I think everybody's probably needing some time to take it all in and.
I think when we got school board training coming up, we might talk to some other districts, just kind of see what experiences that they've gone through, because every school board kind of has the same amount of problems, some way or another across the state. So, I mean, it'd be worth getting some homework on
Good
it.
idea.
Well, it happens all the time. I
Mhm.
mean, either through death, divorce, or desertion, as they say. So it's not uncommon at all for a board position to come up, and it is kind of unusual to have two positions at the same time.
I would be curious to know if we went with the election, if there would be a way we could structure it so that those people wouldn't have to run right away, but we could still sync up with regular board elections. So if it could be perhaps a 3.5-year term or something. To
Sounds
maybe
like
get
you just
things,
gave me a homework assignment. You know who your mother is?
because I do think long-term it would be handier if it could all be in sync.
Yeah, because Matt and Jeff were both on the same cycle. They were last elected in 23. So
I think that would be because Jeff got on a special election during COVID year. He got on in November during the general election
oh yeah,
in November, because they didn't have the board elections that May of 20, I believe.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah.
well, I just saw the year 2023 on there. I didn't dig in there to see if I didn't even think about it being a month other
His
than
term
that.
before that, me and him ran and he got back on, or he got on.
Mhm.
And then I got on the next year, and they didn't have the election because they pushed everything back with COVID to November.
Well, I've got some homework and I need to do on that. It never even occurred to me that they might be off cycle. Homework for now. Okay,
So I guess everybody will go home and do homework on that, and if there's names that you think of that come to your mind, I mean, I've thought about it all day and I've had a couple come to mind. I'm not gonna say them tonight, but we'll discuss them, and I'm not gonna put somebody on camera and then they say, hey, don't be saying my name on the camera. But I think do some homework and take that home and pray about it. Okay, good on that.
Uh-huh.
We'll move on to action item resolve to amend District of Innovation Plan.
Yes, sir. This is a state requirement that we have to ensure that what we're teaching in the classroom meets the requirements and expectations of the state of Texas and the legislature. And so this is homework that Jamie has to do every year. I'll let you speak to that if you want to. I'm not putting you on the
So
spot.
they want to know what we're teaching in each grade level. What we're teaching for science, reading, math, social studies. And so you list everything that we teach and all the instructional resources that we use. And so you go along with it. And so then we submit it to you guys approve it, and then we submit it to them. And then there's an EMAT system that they give us money for instructional materials. And they once they approve our submission, they release our money to us so that we can buy instructional materials. And so, I mean, it's a yearly process, but they basically want to know what you're teaching. Went to a workshop today on Bluebonnet. Bluebonnet has there's a reading program that TA's put out, and there's a mathematics program. There's a big push towards Bluebonnet because it's TEA. It's actually, they've joined with companies and made their own versions. Essentially, it's Eureka and Amplify, but there's a push for that. It's actually free through the state, but they want to know what you're teaching, which makes sense, and how you're teaching it and what you're using. And then they will allow you to buy materials. And so that's essentially what it is. I go on the packet there, I go through there and list everything that we're using and everything that we're teaching for each grade level all the way through. And that's
So what's the difference in that and approve high quality instructional material verification? Is that kind of the same?
No, that is,
Something totally
that
separate.
is what he is.
That's it,
saying.
yes.
The District of Innovation is,
Oh, that's a
Something
different,
else.
yeah, this
Yes.
renovation is a different.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's, that we're using high
This
quality.
innovation is for our co-op and stuff.
Yes, sir. That we're using high quality instructional materials as identified by them to teach our students and that we're following.
So we'll need to, that action, I will need to approve the resolution to amend the district innovation plan first.
Okay.
We'll need a motion for that.
I make a motion.
Stephanie makes a
I'll second.
motion. Kinsey seconds it all. in favor?
Thank
And
you all.
Mr. Humphries is it?
Cody and Kinsey, there's right to your right, I think, no, the bottom. That'll, what you just voted for has a signature page on the back. Sign. Kinsey, since you're acting as proxy secretary, I guess you probably should note when you put your designated secretary or something, stipulate that you're really not the signature, that you're acting secretary.
Okay.
That you may. And it seemed like there's another document too, we've got to.
Yeah, maybe,
do that.
then we'll need another action item, approve the high quality instructional material verification that Mr. Humphrey spoke of. We'll need a motion for that.
I'll make the motion.
Andy makes a motion. I'll second. Cody seconds it, all in favor?
We're frozen.
Do you want us to just go ahead and make you official treasurer, secretary?
Second that.
You don't want to do it?
Okay, so who made that motion?
Andy made the motion, Cody seconded, all in favor.
Okay. There we are.
Thank you all for that.
Okay, next we will take an action item that Mr. Humphrey spoke of earlier. Consider administrative recommendation for hiring teacher Crystal Caldwell, probationary contract for the 2025-26 school year. Everyone understand it's probationary because this is her first year at
First year. at the district,
JGISD.
yes. Mhm. Yep, and Jamie made some initial comments about that, and I've visited with you about the process that we used. And as Jamie said earlier, we had 9 candidates total for all those, both of those positions. As soon as that second position opened, out of courtesy, contacted all 9 candidates and said, just so you'll know, we now have 2 positions, not 1, and I'm gonna assume that your application is active for both of them unless you specifically email me and tell me no. And so everyone was made aware both positions had opportunity to apply for that. It's something I told the interview committee when we were meeting. One of my favorite writers on this topic is a guy named Todd Whitaker that does a lot of writing for principals and administrators. And Dr. Whitaker says that induction begins with the interview. So that's one of the reasons you saw some of the things that you saw on the interview battery. But I would like, for a long time, I've felt like Dr. Whitaker cut it just a little too short. I think the induction begins with the job posting. That's when you signal to people exactly what you're looking for and what you're expecting for people that eventually get the job. And then the interview tells them a lot about the culture of your place. And so we felt like Crystal checked off all those boxes. And so and then as I've told the board too, in the back channels, Jamie and I agreed, and I credit him for this whole process, that he's been very open and willing to collaborate with me tightly, because I know I'm a little bossy, and I have some. I'm just that old. Old men are kind of like concrete, well mixed and permanently set. And so, but it's been we've agreed from the beginning. We were only going to hire people that we felt like were best teachers, and that we were only going to recommend to you people. Let me back up and say it this way. I never dreamed that I would be sitting right here. I never dreamed that my grandchildren would be graduating from this school. I never dreamed that I would be recommending teachers to you that might very well be teaching my great-grandchildren. So, I can wholeheartedly recommend Crystal Clayball to you.
I have a lot of confidence in the process and the background that y'all did and the research and, I'll make a motion that we hire Ms. Clayball, as the probationary contract.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Thank you very much, for that vote of confidence. We appreciate it. And I mentioned, I told Cody, I think, well, all of you too. I mean, I made it clear to the candidates when I contacted them that I did not have the hiring authority. All I could do was recommend them to you tonight, and that I was going to recommend them to you tonight. I asked Jamie today if he would contact them if you ended up approving their hire, so they could take their application out of all those other places that they might be applying for. In Crystal's place, I know she had other offers on the table. No question about it.
Thank you, sir. Next, we'll do the action item. We will consider administrative recommendation for hiring of teacher Miss Amanda Brandon. Brandon for a term contract for the 2025-26 school year, and she'll be a term because she has previously been here.
All the things I said about Crystal, I would reiterate about Amanda as well. Most of you know her, and the reason that it's term contract instead of probationary is because she's been within our employ within the last 3 years, so we can offer her a term contract just as if she'd never left. And so that's, we're
Only
recommending.
question, who's first and who's second?
Pardon?
Who's first grade and who's second grade?
Amanda's first grade. And Crystal, the second grade.
We'll need a motion to,
I make a motion that we hire Amanda Brandon as our first grade teacher.
Stephanie makes a motion, Andy
I'll second.
seconds it. All in favor?
Thank you all for your vote of confidence, and Jamie, let them know, please, sir, if you haven't already.
Good.
Mhm.
Okay. Next, we will move to 4G discussion item, end of course and star data from spring 25 testing.
Yeah, I'll put that on the screen. Make that a little bigger for you to see it. We've referenced this a couple of times already. But just so you'll know where we are. As you look at each of those areas, the bottom line that's not shaded is the Jayton performance. So as you slide across from algebra and then below that biology and then below that English, you can see how we compare to the state in Region 17. So it's quite good, as we want. We cleared the opening height. And as they say in the Chronicles of Narnia now, onward and upward. Anybody read this?
Yeah.
Read the cheap?
Everybody good with that? Okay, next we'll move update, legislative.
Yeah, Andy walked in with, some stuff that he ran off for you, from TASB, kind of a summary of the legislature's work. And then, I dropped a document into your board packet. Where is that rascal? It's top, I think, yeah. The thumbnails. And here's the thing on legislation. I mean, our legislature meets once every 2 years for 140 days. And I heard our people say we would much prefer that they'd wait 140 years to meet 2 days. But lots of bills get filed, and manipulated, passed, and as Lacey and I particularly talk with some frequency about the finance bills, because that has everything to do with the way we build the budget and try to build a budget. But what happens when those bills pass and the ones that the governor signs, well, everything that the governor doesn't veto of the ones that passed, then smart people all around the state start digging in and reading the fine print and see what really gonna happen now. And so those are always the nuances, and I'll give you an example of this thing sitting right here in the middle of the table. The camera. We've debated, and I know in February you all decided, yep, we're gonna video these things and store them. And then we've had conversations about trying to come back up here in the boardroom and then trying to not video anymore. And I thought that's where we were going. And then Friday afternoon, I got an email from the superintendent at Meadow to all 55 or 60 superintendents in Region 17 and said, hey, have y'all looked at Senate Bill 413? And Andy's nodding like he knows what it says. Do you know what it says?
Always, and they went through it this weekend.
Yeah,
I'm not sure where it's at. It's on here.
Senate Bill 413, yeah.
Yeah,
We're gonna
we're
video.
gonna video.
And every school district gonna video, so, done. And, but anyway, it's a lot of that stuff that people will start digging in and looking at the language of those bills. The things in particular of interest to us, as we think this month, in particular, and running up to our July 24 board meeting, is we know the state threw a lot of money at schools, and a lot of it was, and a disproportionate amount was thrown at rural schools because the governor was trying to get some votes. And it got. So bottom line is right now, $8,000 of extra money go to teachers that have over 3 years experience. Don't let me miss 5 or more years of experience. $4,000 for those under that. And then $45 per ADA for other staff, other professionals. Don't let me mistake something here, as you understand it. I'm not trying to hem you up because it's still, we're still trying to figure out how this is gonna work. We thought we might be able to just flag it as, because this is the 89th legislature, and they've allocated the money for 2 years, but they haven't promised it beyond that. So we were thinking that they were gonna just rebuild the state minimum salary schedule to reflect this bump. They did not. They're just saying, it's almost like bonus money. We're gonna give you bonus money for 2 years. After that, who knows? And so what we are reluctant to do is build that into our minimum salary schedule at the local level and be married to it for the long term, and then have to tell teachers 3 years from now, sorry, we got to cut your pay by $8,000. So what we want to do is make sure we comply with the law. We want to make sure that the money is passed through as the legislature intended. But we want to make sure that their name is hanging on it too. So if the day comes where our financial situation is such that we can't maintain that, we can blame, who is our, Scott Burrow, right? Is that our?
That's
our
Dustin
representative?
Burrow.
Dustin Burrow, yeah. Who's Scott Burrow? You know,
Cousin, maybe.
maybe some guy I coached with, I don't know, but, anyway. So I just gave you the general thumbnails of, the things that I thought were relevant to us.
Yeah.
And as this following month unfolds, Lacey will be talking to her job alikes in other districts. I'll be talking to superintendents, and we'll try to figure out what the heck our salary schedule is gonna look like. Because I've said to you before, 85% of the money that we spend is built into the people. And so really everything else is only 15% or so. So is that the way it is on your budgets as well?
Yes, sir.
Highway department?
Yeah.
All the money sunk into people?
And the people.
Well, I'll answer questions and I'll try not to lead you astray. If I don't know, I'll say, if you got questions.
For either one of you, anything about the session that scares you financially, like that you thought, oh no, I wish that wouldn't have gone?
Well, I mean, they've said they are going to give us the money for that increase for 2 years. I guess it's not scary yet.
2 years
There's
from now
no
it is.
what, yes, would be coming after if any.
So is that a one-time allotment or is that like 8,000 each year, this year and next year?
We've
It
been
is
allotted
8,000.
that amount for the next 2 years.
And they are actually funding that for 2 years.
Well, it's gonna come through, they're gonna get the information from PEMS based on their base salary submitted through PEMS of 24-25.
Years of service.
And they, yes, they're gonna gather their information from the PEMS and it will be sent to us, and then I'm assuming they will verify it based on the PEMS of 25-26 that we passed it along.
Everybody
That's
know
kind
what
of what
PEMS means.
Seeing right now. So,
Public education.
Public Education Information Management System. That's all of our data.
Right.
That goes to
to the
the head
state.
shed down in Austin. The big casa.
Is that different from a few years ago, state said we have to give, I think, teachers a 5% raise. They raised the state minimum, but since our district was already 10 or 13, I forgot, percent over the state minimum, it was up to the board to either give them that 5% or not, because we were already over the state
Right.
minimum, but this is different.
It
Rhetoric.
seems as such at the moment that it is different. I mean, based on what we're reading.
The language we're seeing is that the legislature intends it to be a pass-through, a direct pass-through, which means we don't get to mess with it.
But
It
I
goes
don't-
straight to those teachers, but they did not build it into their minimum salary schedule. We would have loved it if they would have just built it into their minimum
They
salary.
did increase the state minimum salary schedule as well. There is a new one for 25-26. So,
You already knew what that was though, right?
well, yes, I mean,
When they do that, do they throw more money at you, or do you just have to? I don't think they threw more money that last time.
they
we
did
did
not,
that. We had to
and that's
come up with
how
it.
we, yes,
Yeah,
because we were already over.
right.
So everyone got a pretty substantial increase that time, but it wasn't as much as what they said you have to give because we were already
Correct.
giving,
We kind of
more.
split the difference on that. I
Yes.
remember right. Okay.
yes.
Sounds like they passed a voucher system. We're getting a lot of pushback. They're handing out money for 2 years and maybe everybody will forget about the voucher system in 2 years and not have to hear that because they were getting so much pushback on the voucher
Correct.
system. So this is
It's that too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Here, be quiet. Here's some more
Yeah,
money.
they
That's
needed-
pretty much what it is.
All along, the governor was having trouble getting votes from the rural Republic. I mean, from the beginning, on the voucher stuff. And so that's why rural schools came out a little better. Even the organizations that we're part of, that are not property wealthy school districts. They were all happy about this because they were getting, a cash cow. In exchange for votes. That's the way politics works. And, but as you have rightly noted, and the view has rightly alluded. Paybacks are hell, 2 years from now, we'll see. But maybe they need our vote again for something else next time, who knows? We'll see. But, and Lacey and I have had this conversation, too. I mean, financially, we're in better shape than a lot of folks are. Jiminy Christmas, I cannot imagine trying to navigate this, some of our neighbors. Be tough sledding.
We're gonna get $8,000 now.
Do what?
They're gonna get $8,000 now.
They don't
Everything-
even know
I know, everything's great now for 2 years. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Go the general.
So we will be lining all that out between now and next month as
It's all
is
this
what
money.
we're supposed to do.
Is it okay if I ask for a recess for a potty stop for an old man?
Everybody good with that?
Mm-hmm.
I won't be on, well, I hope I'm not ready.
Everyone over there?
Water? Yeah. Thank you.
I've said that. Here.
I'm not sure if you.
Already had that thing.
Anybody else want water?
I'll have one, please. So, let me give one.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Oh.
First night. She lost 20 bucks on the page. Slot. Played for about an hour and 15 minutes. I'm
glad you explained that. I thought I had to.
And that was essential. And all that's ever table.
When I first sit down, I thought I had homework to do, get my name on that, I was like, over, and I got to write a paper.
I did too. When I first.
I really thought my brain started clicking. I'll click it all up now and then I'll forget about it in an hour. I have all these great ideas and then it goes.
For late, so how would we do that?
A ton, sit down and write it.
Well, we played, he didn't leave.
Where there's no sleeping in the ground. Yeah.
Right, but we were on back most of the days.
Right.
Back on the
They didn't.
things. So now it's good. There's 106 spots. But
And then so they did that.
it was good, you know, I said it was,
You know.
It's about the
like,
right amount.
question. You think
There weren't that many
when you
people
come in
there.
here,
I tried her out.
information. Wait, you're.
No.
Okay.
Connected with the
Like
nation.
you said.
There are
And that's it, and then we
Lots
got
of people from other
40
countries
minutes
there.
To just rest.
Thank you.
And that was how, that was what they was.
Well, that's, they said.
So that can say that.
Next we'll move to, 5A action item, consent items, the minutes from the May 19th, regular board meeting. The financial reports, the interlocal agreement with Lubbock ISD for service to deaf students as needed. And MOU with Western Texas College and the MOU with South Plains College. Everybody have a chance to look over those and have any questions about them? I thought we did the MOU last meeting, did we not? South Plains and Western Texas. Maybe you just brought it up.
No,
Okay.
no, I don't think so. Just a comment about, and I mentioned this to Cody in conversation, I love the consent agenda format.
Mhm.
Because it allows you to do the mundane and redundant stuff without spending a lot of time on it. But as board members, anytime you see something on there that you want to pull out of the consent agenda and act on it separately, all you have to do is tell the president, I would like to pull item financial reports and discuss independently. So it just comes out of that consent thing. And anytime also with, as long as I'm working with you all, if you have questions about any of those documents, we'll open them up and look at them. The things that we added there that are unusual to you are those MOUs and that interlocal agreement. And I'll just speak to that very briefly. The Lubbock ISD, the state divides the regions up into sections to serve deaf students, hearing impaired students. So Lubbock ISD is our headquarters for serving deaf students. If we have deaf students, then they provide that service to us. This interlocal, us and all the other districts in that radius around Lubbock ISD are doing the same thing we're doing. And we're saying, we want to sign this interlocal agreement with you so that if we happen to have a deaf student, we don't have to transport that student to Lubbock every day. You'll send support out here to us. So that's what that's about. And then those MOUs with Western Texas and South Plains are about, they're the folks that our kids that take college classes That's about dual enrollment classes and the agreement between their entity and our entity about basically this is what we're gonna deliver to you, this is how we're gonna do it, this is how you're gonna get paid. Nothing different, nothing tricky there. It's just business, a business agreement.
With that interlock agreement with LISD, do they provide hearing tests for the kids?
Provide one?
Hearing tests for the kids?
Yes,
They do.
testing. Yeah, and not that you care, I mean, the high school I was a principal of in Round Rock, we were the regional high school for the deaf. We had about 150 deaf kids in our building. It was pretty cool, actually. Except for one parent conference I had one day with a mother and her senior daughter, and that was interesting. We didn't have any interpreters. I never dreamed I'd be part of that conversation. And I wish I had not been.
We'll need a motion to approve the consent items.
I'll make the motion.
Andy makes a motion.
I'll second.
Cody seconds it. All in favor?
Thank you all for your trust. That's what I take that.
Next will be 5B, discussion item, revision of CH local policy related to discretionary spending limits of the superintendent.
Those of you that have been on the board, I think you've had this conversation back and forth. It's my understanding, and Keith and Lacey and I have talked about it. It seemed like you've had the conversation, it's changed. My discretionary spending limit, or the superintendent's discretionary spending limit, is $10,000 here, which is remarkably low for districts. In most cases, the superintendent has authority to spend $50,000 if they need to for something, I mean, not trips to the Bahamas, but legitimate stuff. And next month, and I'm planting seeds with you here. I'm not asking you to make a decision tonight, but 10,000 a little low. And I know it's important that you trust whoever's sitting here, whoever she or he is. Yes, but it was my understanding that y'all have had this conversation with Mr. Sheets and maybe even Mr. Bicknell. Maybe even it was decided it was different, but I haven't been able to turn that up in the board minutes that I've looked for. So I'm gonna ask you next month if you'll bump that number up. 50,000 would be great, but if you want to do it at 30,000 or something bigger than 10,000, because it's just a little bit hamstringing, and you all don't have to and don't need to vote for everything that costs. So heads up on that. Just a fair shot over the bow.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move to 5C, discussion item 2025-26 budget development.
So we've already kind of alluded to this in the conversation about legislative action and the development of the salary schedule. I would like to see a couple of things here on the board. So this is I'll make this bigger. So in the summertime, particularly in July, what you're looking at here is this handy dandy, amazing spreadsheet thing. See all these tabs across the bottom? The guy that used to work at TEA named Omar Garcia is the mastermind of the school finance template. And what it is the comprehensive siphon of every penny that goes to schools, from whether it's federal money, local taxes, pass-through stuff, water payments, you name it. All of this is consolidated in this summary of school finance, including, and everything's included. What we pay the appraisal review district for their, you name it. If it has to do with dollars and cents, it's accounted for in that thing. And this is one of the things that Lacey and I will use to drive the building of the budget. And so, as you can see, Omar Garcia builds this thing, and every time the legislature meets, he builds a new one, and he's building it based on what new legislation, and he changes the formulas. And then there are smart people all over this state, like Gary Harrell, like Dr. Doug Carr, like Johnny Tubb, who eat this stuff up. Kevin used to eat this stuff up. I didn't much care for it, but there's smart people all over this state that are putting their nose on it, and they'll call Omar and say, hey, wait a minute, there's a mistake on this, and so he'll put out a new version with the correction. And so sometimes you're looking at release 2 from 2024-25. And sometimes Omar will really end up releasing 12 or 14 new versions of this thing based on what he hears from people around the state till they think it's correct. So what we've got here is the one I want to show you is this tab right here, Summary of Finance, 24-25, based on the legislation of Senate Bill 2. And this is, I know this is a lot of stuff. I apologize, but it's important for you to understand that this is the way we build the budget. So it has in this top section here, it's the students, which that drives it all. Average daily attendance, regular students, special ed students, career and technology students, weighted students, which is where we pay our Robin Hood money based on, and then PEIMS enrollment. And then the next section here that drives money is property values, as you know. Now, interestingly, one of the things the legislature just changed was the homestead exemption. So it went from 100,000 to 140,000 that people get a free pass on. That's going to impact our tax collections some. But that's built into this thing. And then tax rates. And all this is built on current law and previous law. And so you've got your maintenance operations tax, your tier 1 tax, compressed tax rate, which goes back to the original Robin Hood stuff from 1992. That's kind of still dragging through the sand here. Interest and sinking tax rate, which means we have no bonded indebtedness, so we don't have an INS tax rate. And in your total tax collections, there they are, right there. This is for the year we're closing out right now. Now I'll say this, and Lisa, you can chime in anytime you want to. TEA is looking at this also, and they're comparing it to our PEIMS numbers. And we'll send them what we think, and they'll say, maybe this is not right. And then somewhere, what is it, October, November, they'll say something, we're going to have our final, or something like that. Or maybe it's the final. But it's a constant jockeying thing of trying to square the numbers up with what you thought was going to happen, what you collected, and what actually happened. And sometimes TEA is either paying you back some money they think they owe you a year later, and sometimes you're paying them, more often the case, paying them money.
Try to get as close as we can.
Yeah, right. It's important to get as close as we can. And so you get the idea. I know I'm just driving you into misery here, but it's important that you kind of see what we're dealing with here. So the way the money flows from the state is kind of these allotments. Regular program, small school program allotments, special ed allotments for allotments specifically for special ed, dyslexia students, so on and so on and so on. A little bit of money here, teacher incentive program, you name it. This is all the ways that the legislature and TEA have found excuse to send us a little money. And then it gets more. This subchapter D allotments. These are sort of the non-instructional kinds of things. Transportation, facilities, dropout recovery, college prep. You get it. And then the foundation school program allotments, state funding, and then this one has to do with debt, which we don't have any. And
We
as
do have some, but don't have a INS.
Right, we don't have INS tax. And do you wanna say why we don't have any?
Well.
How do we
because
pay
the
for it?
County permanent is.
Permanent
paying
school
the
fund. That's right, that's how we pay off our debts. I mean, our bonded indebtedness.
Yes.
And then down here, is not for all districts, but only those of us that have to pay recapture, and this is one I want to bring your attention to. So, as of this moment. We think that, for this closing year that we're closing up, we're sending to Austin $1.3 million. For recapture for Robin Hood. Now, I know I'm wearing you out, but I promise I'm gonna stop soon. As we look for, that's a look backwards. Now let's take a look forward. Where is it? Right there. This is the look forward. Same old stuff, line by line by line by line. But look at what we think our recapture obligation is gonna be for the upcoming school year.
I like that one a lot better.
Why, why is it less?
I'll let Lacey answer that question, because I don't know the answer to that. But let me say this, we've been seeing these runs, I mean, for several months now. I mean, as the legislature's been meeting, probably beginning in, well, about the time I came on, probably about March, we started seeing some of these runs. And we kept seeing that number being way smaller than what we were expecting. I don't know that I can tell you. Comment
Well-
if you know.
I think it's with the golden pennies, we're getting to keep a bit more of the golden penny.
Yeah, I did say something
And-
about that in the legislation.
The raising of the homestead exemption and some of those increases, I think they're flowing it back through which is lowering our water payment. And because we're going to have less tax revenue. So, I mean, that's really the answer we have right now as to why, but I mean, $1 million less, because there's not a lot of difference in the net recapture of 24, 25 and what 25, 26 says. That's still 3.1 million and the other was.
She's talking about this line right here.
3,090,000 or something like that.
So, all that, and what we're looking is at the most current run. I mean, that thing's gonna change probably once a week for the next 5 weeks. And as we're putting our brain on, what do we think we're gonna spend on transportation? And what do we think we're gonna spend on instruction? What do we think we're gonna spend on maintenance? All that stuff, will be driven by what we think we're gonna get from Austin and what we're gonna have to send to Austin.
Even the 1.3 is
Much lower.
it's lower than what we've had in the past. It
Yes.
was I remember 4 million and
6 million,
6, yeah.
but values were also higher at that point too, when we were sending 6 million. You know, probably the certified value will come in at 530 million, maybe.
And what she's talking about, the county, the entire, all the property values, that the ARB board, they had their hearings last week for people that wanted to complain about their property taxes. And they probably changed a few of them. I've had the great fortune of being the chair of that board for the last 5 years, so I didn't have to hear any of those complaints last week, but the board we've got the preliminary values, and from those meetings last week, they'll change a little bit, not much usually. Usually they're pretty close to where they're supposed to be. But we'll get that final, usually about third week, July, something like that.
Yes, we have to have it by July 25th. I
Okay.
mean, Cindy will have it to us prior to then, but
I cannot
I don't-
imagine doing that in a large city in Houston or Dallas, listening to those tax complaints and stuff, but Anyway, ask me questions about that before I close this, if you want to. I've been trying to put you to sleep. The people over here.
Looks like
thinking I
Lacey's
can-
doing
I
looks
can
like
hear-
Lacey's doing a great job. I don't know about you.
I can hear snoring from over here, cheek seats. Okay. Thank you for your time and
Thanks, sir.
attention on
That's
that.
good info. Next, we'll move to discussion on the bond proposals.
Yeah, and I've been, keep you all abreast of my thinking as, I've been, thinking about this, and at the last month when we met, I was thinking, okay, transportation seems like a no-brainer. Maybe an auditorium, we gotta do something about an auditorium. Maybe, what was the other one I was thinking? Bottom line is this, I'm kind of shrunk back to the spot, and you can push back on me if you want to, fight me if you want to. Whatever we're gonna do, we probably need to nail it down next month, because if we're gonna put a bond proposal out, the bankers tell me we probably need to get, that train needs to leave the station in August. But here's where I am right now, and I met with the Commissioners Court again on Monday. And I've had the same conversation with them. Because they're the ones that hold the purse strings on the permanent school fund. To me, the only thing I think we should be considering for a bond proposal on the November ballot is transportation. And I'll put together a 3-year plan on that, and I'll show it to you in just a second. If we're gonna build an auditorium, if we decide to build an auditorium, that's a long-term project. It'll be, Lacey told me it took 4 years to finish the daycare center. And an auditorium would take longer, because it's more intricate and got more fancy stuff in it. But on a long-term project, the construction people, I mean, what they do, whether you have a bond or not, what they do is they contact her once a month and say, I need to draw a 100,000 or a draw of 500,000, whatever it is. But it's not, you're paying $8, $10, $12 million in one pop. You're paying it a chunk at a time. This is what I was talking, floating with the Commissioners Court. If we're paying it out one chunk at a time, and at current rate, they're dropping a new $1 million into that permanent school fund every month, then it makes no sense to me for us to be paying interest. None. And we could be paying something like that out over 3-4 years. And not only not deplenish the permanent school fund, it would probably still be bigger than it is now, which is pretty dadgum healthy now. And so I just don't see that. And the other one was housing. If we're gonna keep building houses, I mean, even the ones we're finishing now are gonna end up a little over $300,000, which is more than I would think. But even if we're gonna do that, I mean, when you think of it in the terms of paying it out over time, what does John ask you for a month? 50, 40,000?
Yeah, well, just varies, I
Yeah.
mean,
But it's not $1 million.
no.
It's not a big number. And so if we're gonna build houses, again, I'm making the argument with you all, I don't know that we need to be paying interest on that.
Right.
We need to just pick away,
Mhm.
pay as you go, is my point. What's different about transportation? You can't use permanent school fund to pay for transportation.
Right.
But you can use permanent school fund to pay debt.
Mhm.
So if we ask if we ask these people to go in debt to buy rolling stock,
Mhm.
but then it's not gonna raise their taxes because we can pay that debt down with the permanent school fund. To me, that seems like a win-win. So now let me show you the 3-year plan that I was working on. And that's one of the things, boy, don't you just love artificial intelligence? Because I didn't have to spend a lot of time going to different, where is that? There it is. This is the 3-year plan that I've kind of penciled together and I'm being generous. I mean, I'm shooting optimistically. And so if we were to do this, the 3 years would be a $1.8 million total. And we would replace everything that we own that has wheels on it within 3 years. And so at the top row here, I'm looking at a new activity bus every year. And if this year is any indicator, we've got 2 nice activity buses and one of them has been in the shop the whole time. Or so, or almost the whole time. A large yellow dog bus, a 50-passenger yellow dog bus. And then we have 4 Suburbans, so I would be thinking in terms of replacing the Suburban in year 3. And then we have 3, currently we have 3 yellow small buses. Buy one each year at about that price tag. Suburbans, buy one each year. And the factor I used on the increase from year to year was just a 5% multiplier. I'm just assuming that they're going to jump about 5% each year. And then John and Andy and I have been having thumb wrestling contests over whether or not we need to upgrade the tractor or have a forklift. So I don't know, we're either going to have the thumb wrestling contest or thump a spinner or something, but we do need something with a little more lifting power than what we've got right now. Ag pickup replacement, and maintenance pickup replacement. And then we definitely need a new man lift to get up at the top of the gymnasiums to work in the rafters and lights and stuff. And then replace a lawnmower, replace a gator. And so that's, and I know, I mean, it's sort of a contrivance that it works out exactly with, 3 rows, 3 columns and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. Yeah, but I'm just trying to create a plan to guide the spending if we decide that's what we want to do.
We just bought a 14-passenger van, correct?
We just bought a 14-passenger yellow bus.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what.
And that was because we were living. Yeah, and we paid about 100 and what is that? 107, I think is what we paid for that. But he delivered it that Friday, which I was shocked. And I never dreamed we'd get one that quickly. And he wants our business again, too, by the way.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely. Ask me questions if you got them, or push back on me. That's okay. I take redirection reasonably well.
I think we gotta go there, right? I mean, it seems like you drive down the road just going, I work in Odessa and come back and it seems like there's a bus or something sitting on the side of the road. Not every time I come, but every once in a while, and that's not good for our kids. I mean, we're here for our kids. We're not here for us or nothing else. This is to make the best environment for the kids that go to the school. I know the horse was out of our control, but still, thank goodness they put that big bumper on the front. That could have been pretty ugly.
Correct.
Just taking an
Correct.
extra step
Absolutely.
to make sure our kids are safe. I get nervous. They just left for church camp today. I was nervous the whole time watching them, make sure they're going.
Right.
They're not stopping on the side of the road somewhere. This is pretty important to me.
So, and let me say this too, one of the school districts in the state that have probably the best reputation of any of the property wealthy districts in the state is Canadian on how to pay their Robin Hood obligation, but still maximize the amount of their own money that they keep in their district. And one of the ways they do it is just like this, with rolling stock. They pass bond measures to buy buses, and they don't drive the buses for 200,000 miles. They'll drive them 1 year or 2 years. And they'll put them in auction, but they'll make sure that their neighboring school districts know. So it's not going to be the junkyard Johnny that's getting the bus, the nice bus for, $25,000. It's going to be the neighboring school district that doesn't have much money that gets a pretty nice bus, a pretty new bus at a very fair price. Good for them, good for us. So it's just another way to try to protect what you got, but keep your kids rolling in good quality stuff.
And I'm assuming, I mean, I like having this lined out so we know why the number is what it is, but I'm assuming there's flexibility in that. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
if it's transportation, it's transportation.
Right,
Okay.
right, right. But I mean, and it's like, Keith, I wanna, in fact, I'll segue into that here while we're talking about it, because it has to do with bond money. The technology bond, I mean, or at least since I've been working with you, I mean, we've been very clear about what we're spending that money on and what we intend to spend that money on. And I think that's important for the people that are sitting over here on the other side of the room, that
Absolutely.
not only transparency, but good stewardship. I mean, at the end of the day, we want to buy and have good stuff. But we are accountable to those people that are trusting us. Keith, you ready to comment on you still with me? I thought maybe you'd slipped out the back door there. Where is that? I had it up. Nope, not that one. I'll find it. Can't remember which of my,
Just a quick update on the bond, technology bond and where the monies have gone so far and what we spent. The auxiliary gym sound system is installed in place, and the new Wi-Fi devices, I ordered them last week. They actually came in Friday, so they're here for me to start installing. Touchscreen TVs are still like half done. That has not changed from the last time I reported to you, because I have to have help to put them in, so we're working that deal out with some of the summer helpers that we have. And so hopefully that'll change in the next few weeks. All the new iMacs are in for the computer lab. All the new laptops are already in. Lab tables and chairs are shipped. They shipped today. So I'll have them, it'll probably be a couple of weeks because larger items take a little bit longer to ship and get on site. But those chairs and tables that are in the computer lab right now will come upstairs to this classroom across over here. And then we'll have that lab ready for next year for elementary or Ms. Harrison or any teacher that needs bigger screens. The marquee sign is in production. We've got all the specs and measurements and everything to them. We had to modify a few things at the location to be ready for them to put it in, but we're still looking at sometime in August when they're gonna get here. But I've been in contact with them. They assured me that it is in line and being made, and so hopefully we'll have it before school starts. At least before homecoming.
Basketball season.
You know,
he didn't say which school year.
Which I'll just have to see. So far, it's a little bit over 325,000 is what we've spent. Cause I cut my estimate on my Wi-Fi project dramatically. So, you know, I was estimating 200 and I'm doing that for almost 10. So I won't explain that. It'll be interesting. So
The way the bond is structured, if you need professional help, like a custom electronics, people, can you get help like that if you need it?
yes,
Just,
it's, I mean, if we contracted out somebody to come in and replace all the switches, the bond monies would be used to pay for the labor and
Okay.
the equipment both. But I'm trying to limit the labor portion of a lot of this because that's where a lot of your money goes. And so,
Keith is saving us a ton of money, by doing a lot of this stuff in-house.
just trying to save where I can. So.
A ton of money. Questions about that? You got it? Is there something else that I was gonna ask you this? That's all you were.
That's all I had.
Except for the later stuff. Yeah, okay.
Okay, next we will go to 5E, update on the housing.
Yeah, I talked to or communicated with John Loudermilk Coach Loudermilk, on Saturday. He'd kind of gone dark on me for 2 or 3 days, but Andy and I have been in conversation. We got an excellent stand of careless weeds in the backyards of those houses. I don't know if you've noticed that. You can almost see them sticking up over the fence, but the gates were too small for us to get mowers into, so John's gonna widen those gates. But when I communicated with him on Saturday, he said, I think I'm gonna be able to turn those houses over to you this week. The part of the holdup has been the mulching companies have been just stopped because of all the rain. And they haven't been able to get through their list of folks. So that's on the list. So now I've got, we think those 2 new houses are coming on. I had a conversation in March, right after you all asked me to come on board and help. One of my first questions is who's going to live in those 2 houses? And I was told that they had been promised to Gina, Reuben, and Kim and Smith. So because of seniority with the district. So I went to both of them and I said, this is my understanding. You've been promised one of those new houses because of seniority, and they both nodded. And I said, do you still want to move into that house? And Gina nodded. And Kim Ann said, boy, you know, if you all would fix this, this, and this in my current house, I wouldn't go anywhere. I just kind of dismissed it 2 months ago because I didn't really want to get into that conversation. I didn't know that tonight we were going to be hiring a family that has 4 children and a family that has 3 children. And so I opened the conversation up with her this Saturday and I said, do you remember the conversation we had 2 months ago? And she went, yeah. And I said, has your position changed? And she said, can I come talk to you Monday morning? So she came and talked to me Monday morning. And so she's created a little list for me to take a look at of repairs and upgrades in the current house that she's in. If we might be willing to make, she just stay put. So that option is hanging out there. What we told these candidates that have applied for the teaching job, that housing is available. We didn't tell them what, you know, they didn't know if it was an RV, a pull behind RV, or whether it was a 4-bedroom mansion. You know, they just know that housing is available. What I want to say to you tonight, and I know it's being recorded and will be blasted all over the internet, I have every intention of honoring commitments that were made. I would not pull the rug out anybody, and I'm very, very reluctant to force somebody to move. I am willing to have conversations with people and say, would you be willing to move? Because I want as best as we can to fit the housing to the sizes of the families that we've got. But I don't want to put anybody on the street, and Lord knows I don't want to move again myself. You know, I don't want to do that. So I understand people that are reluctant to move. But bottom line is, I'm going to work to see if I can get everybody into a reasonably suited house to fit their family. We got some fluidity going on here because Josh and Kelsey are waiting to get into another house, which is going to vacate their house. But that house that they're currently in needs a little work done right before we get in there. It's got some electrical problems. So there's a lot of jockeying that's got to be done. As I had a conversation with one of you all earlier this week, it's kind of tricky, and I'm not sure those decisions are best made by committee at the risk of offending you. But ask me questions if you want to. I'll tell you what I think.
I don't have a question. I just have a comment. Housing has been a big issue, the school housing for a long time.
Yep.
It causes
Yep.
hurt feelings.
Yep. I know.
Every time we turn around, and we've been in a mess before with housing, and
Yep.
I just thought we settled on, certified teachers having priority over school housing and whatever's left. That's where I thought we set on years ago. Certified teachers got priority because, over, staff. I don't know if that's still the case or not.
I have no idea. And that's your understanding, but if I were digging back into board minutes, would I find that as a formal action?
I doubt it.
I did not.
I doubt it. I think when Nelson was on the board, not Nelson, when Attorney was on the board when I started, I'm pretty sure the superintendent, it was easier. Overbo wanted control of that, just to not have us have to deal with that. That's why I think that's
Well,
the superintendent.
and that's a conversation, that I had with one of you all this week. When I first became a superintendent at Guthrie, we had a lot of school housing. And, so the person that I called to see how they handled it was Jimmy Thomas, that's Morgan County, because they have a whole bunch of school housing. And I asked Jimmy, I said, how do you handle the housing? And he said, here's the deal, Nelson. Our board lets me handle it. And he said, I make sure our houses have people with kids. And he said, I keep kids in our school with those school houses. And when the last child's graduated, then I put another family in. But I keep kids in the school houses. And so that was his baseline. It didn't really necessarily have to do with certified teaching or anything. But to your point, there's a lot of ways to try to deal with it, and I can see why the decision might have been made, well, we'll just go with seniority, because that's a nice rule. But then that rule will end up with a single parent and one child in a 4-bedroom house. You know, if that's the rule you're gonna live with, and I'm not sure that's the best thing for the district. It might be nice for that particular family. So, gosh almighty, do I really want to be the person making that decision? No. Am I willing to be the person, and I'm gonna tell you, I'll run me off. Yeah, I'm willing to do that. And I think it provides the most cover to you all. I mean, when you can just say, you know, that's his, I hate him also, and that's his decision. But it's tricky business to try to get the houses matched to the families that you need, but then when you want to factor in the ranking, you know, thinking of it that way, that's another variable that's kind of tricky to deal with, because you mentioned certified teachers, but we also have certified counselors, certified nurses, certified administrators, that are not really certified teachers. So it's kind of tricky.
The good thing is we have a lot more school-owned housing now than we did 10 years ago.
Correct, right. Correct.
Hopefully we keep building.
Yeah.
In the future to just keep going like we're going.
Well, and I think when Mackenzie was a sophomore, he kind of shielded it pretty well, but when I told Gary Harrell I was gonna build a house out in the country, I could almost feel his giggling, you know, because it was gonna free up a house for him. To help put somebody else. Now, Kinsey wasn't too fired up about it because she had to hang sheetrock and
I can move into somebody else.
do other stuff. But,
So the houses will be here next week.
well, yeah, but
If it doesn't rain again.
he told me that we were gonna get them April 1st too. Now I can almost feel Lacey rolling her eyes. Yes, he did.
They'd be built in October.
He did. Yeah, so that's all I got on houses right now.
If you walk through them, they look good. They're sharp though.
Yeah. I'm assuming that you all don't want for me to put on the July agenda for you to make a formal decision about how to handle the houses.
No, well,
No, we didn't make those decisions.
next we'll move to update the softball baseball complex negotiation.
Can we go home? 1 hour, well, at 5:30 to say, I emailed, at the May meeting, you all authorized me to negotiate with construction manager folks Tyner.
Mhm.
And so me and Tyner and the architects and the civil engineer, we've been in conversations and the attorneys. And Tyner and I, JD Coffee for Tyner out of Abilene, have I been going back and forth, and we're down to this many items as of last Thursday. And I looked at those two items and I sent an email to the attorneys and I said, on this one, I'm good, I can do it. This one, I don't even understand what they're saying. It was a different language than when the customer was talking. And so I sent that to the attorneys on Thursday. Hadn't heard, and at 5:30 this afternoon, Ron Garcia emailed me and he said, Nelson, well, I'm with you. I'm good on that first one. On that second one, no can do. We need to stick with our guns. So that's what I sent back to JD Coffee right before this meeting started this evening. And said, JD, I'm good on this one. We're gonna stick with our guns on that one. You tell me, are we gonna sign a contract, or are we gonna keep arm wrestling, or are we gonna look in a different direction? So I think, and here's the argument that the attorneys made. Because when I was talking to them about that, the demand that Tyner was making, the attorneys said, and they started pulling up other contracts that they've had with Tyner in the Lubbock area, the school districts. And they said, this is the same language that all these other times Tyner has agreed to it. Why this time are they resisting? So that was sort of my answer to him. No, I'm going to stick with this one. And we've been looking at these other contracts. Why would you agree with all these other districts and not, what's the sticking point here? So my guess is he'll fold, because I think JD's is anxious to get going. And if he says, okay, then the next step is for me to contact the attorneys and say, these are the things that we've agreed on, polish that contract up so we can put our names on it, and then we're off to the races. I think we're close, unless JD Coffee just says, no, I'm done. But I don't think they'll do that.
Thank you, sir. The next action item, call for bids for vehicle fuel, propane and vendor list for personal property value between 10,000 and 25,000 for the 2025-2026 school year.
Yeah, this is one that Kelsey brought to my attention actually after Cody and I had our customary conversation about the agenda. And this is for stuff that we have to go out for bid for on an annual basis. And so that just opens the window of opportunity for those people on those kind of things, fuel and that sort of stuff. To let them send their bid to us. And it's like all other bid processes. We can look at it and we pick the one that we think's most advantageous to us. And I guess we'll do that in July. Will we do that in July? And so those bids will come in. Kelsey, tomorrow, she'll start hitting the newspaper with those things, with those advertisements.
Yeah. So we'll need a motion to approve to get that bid process started.
We'll make a motion.
Cody makes a motion.
Send the bid post. Yeah.
I'll second it.
Any seconds, all in favor?
Thank you. I'm sorry this is running so long. I'm talking too much. Sorry. And I'm the only one that got to go to the restaurant. Everybody else.
We will move to closed session, executive session for the security measures.
Is that the district innovation thing?
We did it.
We
Okay.
did.
Oh,
This is your,
back up early. Okay.
That was it.
Yeah. So, closed session.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
You all stay.
Anybody got anything else?
No.
We need
Will you
a,
make a motion?
yeah,
Motion to adjourn.
nope.
Nope,
Oh.
I make a motion that we accept the recommended changes to our Guardian program list.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Okay.
I haven't sealed that yet.
Did you get that duly recorded? Need to do it again. Hurry up.
Steph made
He's
it.
got 60
Who-
minutes and he turns it
Andy
into pumpkin.
seconded. All were in favor.
Don't give her a hard time.
Cody wants. he
So,
wants to step.
motion made.
She's volunteering and she's about to
How
quit on
did you
you.
phrase that? Motion made to,
Accept the recommendations for the new Guardians program.
Let's change these.
Just take a picture of that as far as I can submit it to EA tomorrow.
okay.
So that,
we go.
before we adjourn, me and Stephanie are going next week
Yes,
to training, school board training.
Kalahari?
yes.
Yes. Have y'all got
Yay.
any picked out, dates or anything, San Antonio? Huh?
I went last week,
To where?
San Antonio.
Well, no, I didn't want to
That's
go.
what I'm talking
I probably would have went. You going to any of them?
I'm doing part of it online and then he's a certified trainer for the ones I'm
Okay.
doing.
I need to do the same thing. I may have to get some information. I got conflicts with every
Okay.
one of those dates.
Understood.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I was
And
asking.
I think I've told you all, I mean, I'm an authorized provider.
Yes.
And just like this stuff here, I'm doing what with a little malice of forethought. So I can give you some credit for board training
Good.
as we go along. But, the thing, it's kind of interesting though. I mean, can't really have a team of 8 with a team of 6.
Right.
That's what I was about to ask.
Yeah.
We could do that depending on how we decide to move about this in the future. Maybe do that in August, well, I guess it just depends. I guess we can do a team of,
Ask me that again now?
I said, I guess depending on how we decide to move forward with
Yeah.
2 vacancies,
Yeah.
we can make that decision.
Yeah, and y'all, I mean, y'all can talk about how you think you wanna. I mean, I'm pretty ambivalent. I know you have to do the political calculations and you have to do the perception calculations. So however you wanna do it's fine with me. I don't have a strong feeling one way or the other. I did not want either one of those guys to quit. And like in Matt's case, part of my argument was, I think, as you kind of alluded to in your comments, a healthy disagreement makes us stronger, as long as it's healthy, you know, when it turns ugly, maybe it doesn't make us stronger, but I wish they hadn't quit, but they're old enough to decide. They're big boys. Do what they want. But I don't know, and I want to say, thank you all for your service. Jimmy, Christmas. I don't know why good people do it. I don't know why good people do it. And even if you were gonna appoint somebody, you know, why would you wish that on, you know? Unless, I mean, maybe in-laws or something, but,
I do it for the kids.
yeah, of course.
Love these
That's
kids.
why most of us are.
Sometimes I love a bunch of them more than I love the ones that live in
Well,
the house.
you know, and I was thinking about that today. Who was I talking to? From a principal's perspective. Some of the worst little jackasses I ever dealt with. I mean, I just absolutely loved them. But, I loved them just as much as I did the National Honor Society kids.
Yeah.
Even though we spent a lot of time together, it wasn't always pleasant, but. Yeah, did I get caught on the thing? Good. Cindy,
Okay, and we'll need a
before
motion
the
to
edit-
adjourn.
Well, I do know that I will not be here on July 24th. I don't know how that
Yeah.
affects us numbers wise now, so.
We may need to reevaluate, and if we can move that up, everybody can see July, the 24th, she's gonna be out of town, maybe the week before, I know that. 28th through 31st, I think I'll be in North Carolina, so. May have to be like the second week.
So,
You
go
go.
ahead.
I'm in California the whole week of 13th through the 19th.
I'm glad it's you and not me.
So 13th through the 19th,
You're gone, are you gone the whole week of the 24th?
No, just the 23rd through the 27th.
so I can do it like what day is the 19th?
The
So,
21st is
so the
Monday.
21st is a Monday.
If it's not an issue number wise, I just know that.
Would Monday,
If we
you
go
off
down.
No, but I'll be,
21st of July?
yeah, I'll be here like right at game time. Oh,
Can you be here the 21st? Can we?
I'm not, Comal ISD, New Braunfels has asked me to, do their leadership retreat for all their administrators that day, and I'm committed to that on the 21st.
When will you be back?
I can be back the evening of the 22nd. I can do the 23rd. I
You'll
don't
be
think you probably want to do it on the
22nd is, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
26
that
works for
For
me.
me.
So we're moving July 24th to July 22nd.
Yes, sir.
And what I'll do, I'll send, I've got to talk to Lacey. If you, those of you who've been on the board know that August is kind of tricky because we have to have more than one meeting in August. We have to have a tax rate hearing and a closing the books meeting and.
Budget meeting,
Yeah.
team of 8.
Yeah, on that one, on the 22nd of July, Lacey, showed me the, book that she put together for you all, kind of an overview, section by section budget book. Some places call it a budget workshop.
Yeah.
And so I've asked her to go ahead and do it again, because it looked like a nice, clean, fairly digestible way for you all to look at that without having to think about the coding and all that stuff. So.
Will that date change affect Lacey's report? Cause didn't she say she wouldn't have the auditor till the 23rd, some of her stuff? Will that affect
Well,
her stuff?
no, it will be okay. I mean, she may have that information or she may not, but still gonna be, I mean, that meeting is not gonna, we're not gonna be, just setting a budget. We won't set the budget until August anyway.
Okay.
So this will be the, we're getting close meeting. And we should have pretty firm numbers on the salaries and stuff and personnel. I hope we don't lose any more personnel. But, it's possible that we could, just by virtue of some, some of the hiring we didn't make.
I did have one question, 'cause I know,
Are we still recording? Okay.
that's fine. The community knows, man, we're short 2 members now, and, we're probably gonna get questions. What are y'all gonna do? How y'all gonna handle this? So, do we need to meet? Cause we can't like text each other on a group text.
Not a group text. You can talk to each other individually.
But do we need to decide by a certain date on our plan moving ahead? Or do we need to put a date on,
I think by the 22nd, we probably come in here and have.
since they're both it's less than a year. We don't have to put anything in there, but if we do an election, it probably be, I'm thinking November general election, so.
Yeah, I would think it would be probably be best, for any candidates and for you all. I mean, in the interest of transparency, if we were gonna have a special election, is to couple it with the November election, because then you're probably gonna get the maximum number of voters in the community casting their vote at that time.
My thought is to get 2 people in here that wanna be on the board, that wanna serve the district, the kids. Cause we may be looking at a superintendent in 8 months. I
Correct.
want 7 people to pick that superintendent,
Agreed.
not 5
Agreed. Agreed.
that you recommend.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that it's a full vote,
Right.
on accepting that
Yeah.
individual.
I think that's wise.
So to me, either we have to appoint somebody or that we think really wants to be on the board. No matter what side of the fence they're on or anything. Or we have to have a special election in November. That's what I think.
Yeah.
We have to have that because we have to have 7 to pick a superintendent.
I
Unless you
agree
plan on
that we need a
staying
full
here.
board.
I do too.
Unless you plan on staying here 3 more years.
I mean,
I mean, I'll ask your wife first.
So if y'all are going to convention, that might be something you ask.
That's what-
Yeah, we're gonna
That's
start
great
picking brains
plan.
over there. Because
My understanding, if you have a special election, it is only to finish out
that,
that term.
that term, which means in November,
they'll have
It's a
run
lot to ask
again.
somebody to run.
they'd only be finishing out 6 months.
yeah.
Yeah, but I think if somebody runs and they win, they'll probably win again. I think.
Right, it's just a lot to put people through.
But then you have to do another-
Yeah, for
Well, they're gonna
Campaign.
definitely wanna do it.
They do it twice,
Yeah, they're gonna definitely wanna be here.
Mhm.
But I don't know that for a fact, so.
I think a public election is a full term. I mean, an appointment is to finish the term of the member that left, but I think a public election is a full term, pretty sure.
But your term is usually May.
Yeah,
And not November.
And Jeff got here that way because of the COVID year, and that may be an exception, like fifth year senior type deal, but there's probably the special COVID rule on that, but.
So that's the reason I was saying, if y'all are going to convention, that'd be a good
Yeah,
thing to find out what the real rules.
or just see the
Alright.
pros and cons of both sides, what other
True.
people have done.
That'd be a big one for us to get.
According to artificial intelligence, a school board member in Texas who's elected during a special election serves only the remainder of the unexpired term for the seat they're filled, not a full new term.
So Jeff wasn't filling a vacancy, it was election, he actually only served 2.5 years. Cause it should have been in May, but he didn't get elected until November. That's true, so he only served 2.5 years.
So if that's the case, and by the way, I don't know if y'all use Perplexity as one of your artificial intelligence platforms, but one of the reasons I like Perplexity is it gives you that quick synthesis.
Yeah.
But it also shows you the source documents that it sucked it from,
Yeah, I read that, you sent us on my email.
which you can dive back in there. But if that's the case, if a special election only would put a person in the seat until May, I don't know that it
I don't-
pays you to go to the trouble.
Right.
I mean, to me, it's either here I'm telling you what I think, I shouldn't be telling y'all are the board, I'm not.
No, but it's
Get your
good to
business.
hear because we want to do what's best for our school because we're on a great trajectory right now. And we want those 2 seats to fill the void.
Mhm.
And I think we're on a healing path. And we're more transparent, we're giving people more information, and that's important.
Mhm.
To me, the most important thing is 7 voices picking the
Yeah,
superintendent.
we need
I agree.
voices, yeah.
That's-
Because we have to look ahead, we have to look at the big picture.
And I love the idea of putting it up for election, except I don't like the idea of someone running
For 6
for
months.
6 months.
And have to
Uh-huh.
run again.
Yeah, I like the election. We figure out the best way to do that.
Okay,
A lot to think about.
so we have homework.
You need a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to
Everyone
adjourn.
makes a motion, Amy seconds, it, all in favor? And me and Stephanie will do some homework next week.